So welcome to this podcast. This week we're going to be doing business structures and agency. The two are related. You need to understand agency to understand how business structures can work or don't work sometimes. And we're going to split it into 3 or 4 parts. We'll see how we go. The first part I want to look at is actually business structures. So what are we actually aiming to do? We want to give us an overview of 4 kinds of business structures. We want to know about sole traders, about partnerships, about companies, and about trusts. And then we're going to move into agency, and I'll cover that overview when we get to that part of the podcast. By the end of this, hopefully you'll have an understanding of the various kinds of business structures, their advantages and disadvantages, and when you might actually choose one kind of business structure over the other. As part of that, you need to understand the legal relationships between the various parties, and in particular, you need to understand the legal relationship between an agent and a principal. It's a very important part of what we're going to deal with. That includes things like what an agent can and can't do, their duties, and when an agent can be liable. Then we'll need to be able to know how to apply all of that knowledge to resolve legal issues around agency. Some negatives come with it though. Because it's you operating the business, when you take on a debt, a business debt, so you take out a lease or you buy a piece of equipment, you're responsible for the debt as an individual because there's no separate legal status. So while it's the business buying it, you're entirely liable. So there's unlimited personal liability for the debts and business obligations. However, no formal legal requirements to establish this kind of business. So it's easy, cheap to do. Big problem, unlimited liability for you as a person. Here we see all of this stuff summarized. Advantages, very few formalities. Full ownership means you get control. It also means you get all the profit. Disadvantages, personal liability for all of the business debts, and that liability is unlimited. Limited sources of capital. You have the owner's money plus what you can get in terms of debt, and you do have some limitations in that one person mightn't have all the skills that you need to actually run a successful business.